Simon, you can't talk about United these days without talking about the off the field issue as well, regards this takeover. And now we're led to believe that it's down to a 25% stake for Sir Jim Ratcliffe, as and when that comes about. So Rio Ferdinand's the latest one to throw his hat into the ring in terms of comment there. And Rio tells us all that Sir Jim, for one, needs to reveal his plans for the club. If and when his 25% deal is ratified. Says Ferdinand, we've not had it explained what 25% looks like from a business standpoint to appease the anxiety. Most fans wanted a new ownership.
Yeah.
It's not that now. So do you think Sir Jim is thinking, do you know what, Rio's right, I better say something about this?
Well, I think perhaps the context of why Rio was saying that needs to be explained, because I don't know whether it's part of a question, but we were floating a kite last week, and it was a kite that he will be taking over football transfer policy. No, he's not. He's not going to take over football transfer policy because he's got 25% shareholding in a business that's owned predominantly by another set of shareholders, and the biggest cost base of that business is transfers. So he was never going to be taking it over. He's going to have a valued contribution toward it because he's a significant shareholder in it. And maybe with the introduction of Dave Brailsford, which I'm not entirely convinced by, that's going to help the thought process around football committees making decisions about who and what and why and how decisions are made about who gets bought, who gets sold, and who gets recruited. I don't quite know what Rio expects to hear. He's a minority shareholder, a significant minority shareholder. He owns 25% of the football club. He's already said in interviews that he wants to be successful. He doesn't contemplate anything other than success. What is it else that you think you're going to want to hear? The predominant shareholders are still the Glazers.
Yeah.
The landscape has changed marginally. And when Jim Ratcliffe is in control of that football club, then Jim Ratcliffe will have the gift to tell everybody what he's going to do. He doesn't have that gift. He's not in control of that football club. He's a significant shareholder in it.
So it's pointless, Rio saying, if Mr. Ratcliffe, actually it's Sir Jim Rio, but it doesn't matter, if Ratcliffe is coming in and wants to hit the ground running, show some signs of influence. I mean, what does that mean?
Well, that's a very simplistic view. It's appealing to a gallery. It's a very simplistic and uninformed view about what shareholding actually looks like. I understand why Rio's saying it, because there is a perception that Jim Ratcliffe will end up owning Manchester United. So if that's the case, why don't you start planting those seeds and start creating a nature of a relationship? Well, the only thing that will create a relationship with the fans is the removal of the Glazers and Man United being at the top of the tree again. And when Jim Ratcliffe's in that position, I'm sure he'll address that subject matter. Yeah. But right now, he's a shareholder. He's a minority shareholder, a 25% shareholder. He doesn't control the balance of power. He doesn't have the ability to vote down the Glazers in the direction of the business's travel. So he's a significant player, but he is a player. He is not the coach. No. He's not the owner.
And we don't even know if he's got 25% yet.
And that deal hasn't even been concluded.
No.
And that's going to be fraught with complications because of the structure of the shares, the value of the shares, the voting rights of those shares. There's a long way to go with this.
So never mind all that. On the field of play, United need a win, and they need it tonight. Ten Hag certainly does.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.